Well, family, as we conclude this message, don't waste your pain. All throughout this series, I've been inviting some amazing leaders and friends to really kind of be a human face to this study on Job. And when I think about this subject in particular, don't waste your pain, there is a power couple that the Lord laid on my heart, Pastor Chris and Emery Williams. They are the lead pastors of an amazing church, the church at Antioch in Antioch, California. So let me tell you, first and foremost, if you are ever in the Bay, all right, that is the place that you have got to go. It's an amazing church. And God's hand is on that church in a very significant way because of how God's hand is on them. But their journey hasn't always been perfect. And they are acquainted with pain in unique ways. And I thought that God had a very special word through them. So Pastor Chris and Emery, thank you for being a part of this word today. When we talk about not wasting your pain, how have you guys kind of walked through that? Or how have you found God in those kinds of places?
First of all, let me just say thank you to you, Bishop Van, for allowing us the opportunity to share with you and the TWC family. We're honored to be a part of this and those around the world who are watching today. Pain is something that we're both familiar with. There's an old adage, and I'm almost too embarrassed to mention it, but it's an old cliche that we've heard for years. Our grandparents would say it, but there's this saying, no pain, no gain. Cliche-ish, but yet I think it rings true because one of the things that we've discovered, and we'll dive into it in a moment, is that one thing God showed me as we were preparing to share with you is that pain is purpose concealed, and that purpose is pain revealed.
Wow.
And that really helped us because we realized that the intensity of your pain speaks to the magnitude of your purpose. And so that the enormity of purpose can always be inextricably tied to the ferocity of pain. And so therefore, I must understand then that hidden in my pain, I mean, I don't know it when I'm in it, but hidden in my pain is my purpose. And within my purpose is my pain.
Wow.
And so we realized that we couldn't get to our purpose without going through our pain. And if we're experiencing pain, then we must know then that that's an indicator that we're headed to our purpose. So talk about that for a minute, babe, about what God's been speaking to you.
Well, pain is unavoidable. You're either born into it in situations like my story, or you're a subject of it, some kind of similar to your story. So pain is unavoidable.
And one thing too is that if you don't manage it properly, and here's what we really found out, and we're going to get into it, but if you don't manage pain properly, then you'll cause pain.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you don't manage it right, you'll cause pain. You'll cause pain in your relationships. You'll cause pain to your children. You'll cause pain in your marriage. And if you're a leader, you'll cause pain in your church. But it must be managed.
Yeah, it'll cause you to inflict pain on yourself. Yeah, if you don't manage it properly, which in fact does affect others.
Right, and so there's really three things, and that we'll kind of share with those who are watching, and I hope that you can relate to this. But the first thing we learned together is that when pain arises, and it will arise, you must face it directly. In other words, facing it is the only way to be healed from it. You can't hide it. You can't medicate it. And I hope I can say this safely here. You can't sex it. You can only do that for so long. And sooner or later, you're going to have to face it. You can't, there's no way of getting around it. You want to talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, it's important to be healed of your past so you won't hurt people or blame the wrong people. You really have to sit in it and deal with it yourself. And then definitely conversationally deal with it with those you are directly relationally involved with.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's, and she mentioned this, it's important to be healed from it, so that you won't hurt the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things we had to come to grips with, because the wrong people are the people in your present.
Wow.
And what ends up happening is that we blame the wrong people. And so we were doing this. You start blaming the wrong people, and in essence that you blame them for hurt that they're not even responsible for.
Wow.
And so you got to face it, because, you know, I ended up hurting her for something that happened to me before I met her.
Wow.
And so that I'm blaming her for something she didn't even do. Right. And so it's all in that I think the lack of the courage and yet honesty that we have sometimes in not wanting to face it.
Yeah.
Right. Why don't you talk about that for a moment, how facing it is so important?
Definitely facing your past is important. Just to share, just briefly, when I say you are sometimes born into pain, I never had a chance to meet my biological father, and I carried that pain. My mother was 7 months pregnant with me when he passed away. So I never met him, named after him, but never met him. I carried that pain for years. And even after losing the father that raised me and after marrying the man that got sent, I felt myself still dealing with that pain. And it multiplied and it metastasizes into something deeper. And so even though he was misplacing his pain, I in turn was misplacing pain because there were undealt with childhood family trauma issues that I had to really sit and deal with. And even as we began ministry, babe, just 7 months after we began the church at Antioch, a part of our story is that my mother actually passed 7 months after that. So those things began to just swell and come to the surface and erupt. Yeah, painful situations will erupt, and if you don't deal with them properly. So I had to take some steps for myself to learn how to resolve it, to move past it. And I had to make a decision, and I was determined to do that, to get help, to go talk to a licensed professional and sort out all the pieces of my brokenness. I couldn't be afraid to tackle it head on, really, just to sit every week. I just really knew that and found out that what I didn't expose could not get healed. You know, Sunday mornings and midweek and even devotion daily, sometimes it didn't even help. It didn't go deep enough. I had to go deeper, and I had to invest in my healing and schedule time to take care of myself so that I could be good for my husband, so that I could be good for my family, and did not continue the cycle of brokenness. So there are major events in your past that you need to face with pain, but starting to reveal it and deal with it and confront it, however often you need to, will help in your healing so that you're not hurting anyone else.
That's so good. And one of the things that, along with facing it directly, that we learned, what was so important, and I hope that those of you out there who are listening and watching, that you get this, you have to place it properly. Along with facing it directly, you have to place it properly. What do I mean by that? Pain, when it's misplaced, can cause you to improperly project it on the wrong person, the wrong place, and at the wrong time. Wow. When you misplace it, and see the reason why you feel they caused it, the pain, is because you misplaced it. And when you misplace the pain, watch this, you mishandle the person. Wow. So when the pain is misplaced, you mishandle the person. And we were doing a lot of that. I was mishandling you, and you were, and so talk about our pain and some of the kind of internal things that you felt.
Absolutely. I had feelings that there was pain that I did not cause. I knew my pain. Remember, I got acquainted with my pain. I confronted my pain. I dealt and talked with a professional to go through things that were painful in my past so that I could experience wholeness and healing. However, I knew that we hadn't been quite married long enough for me to do the depth and the detrimental damage of pain that I felt that you were experiencing. So I really had to go to God and pray. I really had to intercede for my husband in ways that I didn't even understand. I would learn how to pray for him because I was praying for things that I had not known the depth of his pain. I knew I hadn't done so many things that in such a short amount of time when we start experiencing this season in our lives, that would just cause us. Yeah, I just felt that there was something deeper that we had to go through and go to, so that, I didn't think that we could, I felt that we needed to work on it and that it wasn't just worth quitting before we dealt with everything to be healthy for each other.
Right.
Amen.
And so it's so important because here's revelation that God gave me that just because the pain is the same doesn't mean that person caused it.
That's good.
So they may watch this, they may have triggered it, but they didn't cause it.
Yeah.
So they can trigger this pain or the reaction or response, but they didn't cause it. Because the pain of your past, and here's what I found out, that the pain of your past and my past and our past can hurt the people of our present, but they weren't even around to do what we're blaming them for.
Wow.
And so the reason why it's so important to put pain in its place is because the pain you feel may be based on past hurt and not present happening. And so you have to put it in its place. And so along with facing it directly and placing it properly, the last thing I believe that's so important about being healed of it is that you have to use it productively.
Oh, that's good.
And I think that some of your series and some of what you've shared is dealing with the very idea that pain can produce something. And we've been through some pain and it's producing something. But I think we both can agree that your pain will only produce when you have the right perspective of it.
Oh, it's good.
Like you have to have, you can't let your pain use you. You must use it.
Wow.
You got to use your pain and put it in production and let it produce. And here's what I discovered is that you don't know what it's producing while you're in it. I mean, we had no clue. We were arguing back and forth, and you get out. Well, no, you leave. I mean, it was painful. It was a lot of pain, right? And we didn't know what all of that pain was producing while we were in the pain. It's almost like God keeps it hidden away. But I think, on the very familiar storyline of Job, you can attest to this, Bishop, that God gave Job a glimpse and a preview into the revelation of his pain. And our spiritual father, Bishop Omer, says that it was by faith that Job made a declaration of what his pain was producing. When he said, after he has tried me, I shall come forth as
pure
gold. And so Bishop Omer says that Job is in this spot. He gets this revelation. He says, oh, I get it now. I'm being tested. I'm being tried, but I'm being tested and tried as gold. Right. And so it's that whole idea of the study of metallurgy and the study of metals. And Bishop says that the essayist would test the quality of the metals by placing them in the fire.
Yes.
But Job gets that revelation in the middle, and Job said, I'm in the fire, and when I come out, I'm coming out as pure gold. So good. And so you really don't know, the what's being produced. You don't know the enormity of what's being produced while you're in the ferocity of the battle that's producing it. You have no clue, because had we known all that it would take to get us just to this place, God knows what he's doing. We probably would have quit. We would have, no, God, I'm done. If I got to go through that to get to here, I'm not going to do it, And so God, we've learned that God has used our pain to bless us. Wow. That pain is not punishment, but it's designed to perfect us. I'm gonna just be honest with you. you, my brother, Bishop Van, and you who are watching, we're in the midst of pain right now.
Wow.
And while we may, like to sound and like to hear spiritual things and say spiritual things during moments like this, we're in the depths of some pain. That's probably some of the darkest pain I've ever experienced. Just 3 days ago, I lost my mom, and I'm gonna just be honest. I really haven't gotten the full revelation yet on how God is going to use this pain.
Wow.
Tears are in my eyes. I've been crying every night. I really don't know. I know that he is, right? I know that he is. But I really don't know how. All I can do is trust in the word of God, where Paul says that, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time, pain, can't be compared with the glory that will be revealed in us. It'll come out of us.
Yeah.
It's likened unto having a baby. It's that whole idea of a mother giving birth, going through the excruciating pain of birth, and then she births this baby and she forgets all about the pain.
Yeah.
The one thing I can leave you all with today, and that we can leave you with, is that the pain that you're facing right now, I don't care where you are, I don't care where you're listening from, I don't care what you're going through, the pain that you're in right now, the pain that you're feeling right now, whether you tried to medicate it with drugs, alcohol, relationships, money, shopping, whatever you've tried to do, you need to know and hear me that the pain you're in now is birthing something.
Yes.
You may not know what it is. You may not know the magnitude of what God's going to do through that pain, but that pain is birthing something. And you don't know what's being birthed while you're in the pain, but you need to know, listen to me, that God wants to use your pain to birth your purpose.
That's so good.
I really believe that hidden within your pain is your purpose. Yeah, pain hurts, but it can help and it will heal.
Yeah.
And we've learned that. We've learned that pain produces a greater purpose. And I believe that I don't know what's coming. When I say I'm in the thrust of pain, I don't know what God's going to do on the other side of this. We don't know. Now we're both motherless, if you will. We don't know, and fatherless. We don't know what God's going to do on the other side of this pain. But what we do know is that he's birthing something. Yes. And the labor is intense, but the birthing is going to be something to celebrate. Absolutely. And we thank you for allowing us this time to share a segment of the story about our pain.
Amen. Well, listen, brother and sis, I pray sincerely that the peace of God would cover you all as you walk through this time, and that you would be overwhelmed by just a sense of God's presence. We know that he's close to the brokenhearted, and my prayer and my wife's prayer as we've been undergirding you guys is that he would overwhelm you, that he would literally wrap his arms around you and carry you through this. But thank you for being open and transparent and blessing us and blessing so many through the lessons that you all have learned about how God uses our pain. So God bless you. My heart is full because you guys have blessed us in a tremendous way. So thank you for being a part of this message and helping us to close it out in a very, very significant way. God bless you guys.
God bless you.
Love you.
Love you too.